This gorgeous laptop here is the Dell Alienware m15 Ryzen Edition R5, and it's a beast because it packs a Ryzen 5800H and an RTX 3060 GPU. But for a price tag of 7,699 ringgit, is it worth your money? Let's find out. Before we get started, here's a quick word about Good Deals by KLGG, our official e-store where you can get all sorts of awesome gadgets quick and easy. The best part is, you can get 10 ringgit off your first purchase, 0% installment with credit or debit cards from 100 ringgit with IOU Pay, plus free shipping every time. Click the link in the description box below to start shopping. Let's quickly talk about the design for a bit. As usual with all Alienware laptops or products for that matter, it looks very premium thanks to its aggressive air vents at the back and lighting effects on the logo, as well as the lighting strip at the air vent. This particular finish is called the Dark Side of the Moon, and it's got a very smooth finish to it. Unfortunately, this finish is also very prone to fingerprints and grease stains, so you'll need to wipe this down very frequently. Also, one thing I don't really like about this particular M15 Ryzen Edition laptop is the build quality, which I find is a little subpar because every time you move the laptop or you open and close the cover, I'm not sure if you can hear it, there are creaking noises, which is usually only found on cheaper laptops. When it comes to the I/O ports, you have two USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports on the right side and one more at the back. Also at the back is a Type-C USB 3.2 Gen 2 port with power delivery. There's also the charging port, a HDMI 2.1 port, and on the left is an Ethernet port and a headphone jack. One positive feature of this laptop is the impressive keyboard, and it's one of the best ones I've used on a laptop in a while. They are quiet and have a 1.7mm travel distance. It has a certain tactile feedback that's really good for typing and not bad for gaming as well. These are RGB lit and each key is spaced out quite nicely too. Also, another plus point that I need to mention is the Full HD 15.6-inch 165Hz panel that actually boasts impressive colors and contrast. Along with pretty good viewing angles, you enjoy watching videos on this device. Finally, let's talk about its hardware. This laptop packs a powerful combination of a Ryzen 5800H CPU and an RTX 3060 GPU. If you need something more heavy duty, you can also opt for the Ryzen 9 5900H model that comes with an RTX 3070 graphics card. Under the hood are also two sticks of 8GB DDR4 3200MHz RAM that you can swap out and replace with up to 32GB of memory. For storage, this model comes with a Samsung PM99-1A 512GB NVMe drive. And that's definitely not enough for heavy gamers. The good thing, however, is that there is a second M.2 slot that you can plop up to a 4TB SSD. But that's going to add more cost to an already pricey laptop. When it comes to performance, let's start with gaming benchmarks. On Shadow of the Tomb Raider's benchmark tool, with everything set to maximum and RTX shadows turned off, we scored an average 95 frames per second. With RTX shadows enabled, along with DLSS turned on, we scored 96 frames per second. You have got to love upscaling technology, eh? When it comes to Battlefield 5, at Ultra settings and DXR plus DLSS turned off, the game ran at an average FPS of 65. With DXR and DLSS turned on, the game ran at an average FPS of 69, but I noticed some stuttering when it came to certain War Stories missions. In Cyberpunk 2077, at high preset, the game ran at about 68 frames per second, but with ray tracing set at medium and DLSS at auto, the game dropped to about 47 frames per second. When it comes to the Final Fantasy 15 benchmark tool, at the highest preset, the laptop scored 7,822 points. And with all the NVIDIA settings turned on, including DLSS, the benchmark had to run at 4K. This test scored about 3,641. When it comes to Genshin Impact, the game runs at a smooth, capped 60 frames per second even during heavy battles. Moving on to synthetic benchmarks, the laptop scored 8,818 on 3D Mark's TimeSpy, 66,406 points on PC Mark 10, 11,149 points on multi-core performance on Cinebench R23, 6,370 on max thread performance on 3D Mark's CPU profile. When it comes to thermals, I never really experienced any throttling even at heavy loads, but unfortunately it does get a little warm on the WASD portion of the keyboard, but it never really got too uncomfortable in my experience. Unfortunately, to keep the laptop cool, the fans are pretty loud, especially when you run it at full speed, which you will need to because of the very powerful hardware under the hood. So with all that said, for 7,699 ringgit, the Dell Alienware m15 Ryzen Edition R5 is not the best value gaming laptop out there, especially when you consider it only has 512GB of storage. Examples of products that have better value is the Lenovo Legion 7 that has similar specs to this but offers you 1TB of storage instead and only costs 7,117 ringgit at the time of writing. But if you prefer an Intel system, the Asus TUF-F15 offers you an RTX 3070, an Intel Core i7-11370H CPU and 1TB of storage for just 6,999 ringgit. So with all that said, this laptop still offers you a few good things like its pretty display, great keyboard, really good upgradability and decent performance. On top of that, the laptop looks nice and you can show off to your friends and say, hey, I have an Alienware. Let us know what you think about the Alienware m15 Ryzen Edition R5 down in the comment section below. Remember to like our video, subscribe to our channel. Victor signing off. Bye-bye.